hapa mostly mambo yako inaenda poa. Kama ni shule inaenda vizuri, kama ni job inaenda vizuri. Hata bibi ama watoto wakuuliza ni aje, unaambia si mimi niko sawa.
Ushaikosa kitu huko nini? Nishai kuuliza kitu.
But in the real sense, umeona umeanza kutumia hii drug ama hii pombe as a coping mechanism, which is at that particular time it is negative. Umeanza kukua dependent psychologically. It's a reality out here that watu hujua mtu amefika pabaya akisota. Lakini kabla afike hapo kusota, there was all this other deterioration that people miss. So the first stage in the process is experimentation. Is that first test. Kuna hiyo mara ya kwanza. And basically
kuna kuzo hivi alikuja sherehe home.
Kuna vitu mob fanya watu wajaribu. Maybe curiosity. Uliona maybe baba yako ama your cousin or whoever ukaona amebambika sana na hii kitu ukasema hata mimi nitajaribu nisikie venye yeye usikii
anaimba hivi.
Kuna kitu ya pili inaweza fanya utake kuexperiment. Hiyo sasa ni peer pressure. Wale watu mko nao, you see, environment pia. So two things happen when you experiment with a drug. You either get euphoria ama dysphoria. Na msishtuke na majina.
Euphoria ni kufurahia.
Euphoria sasa unasikia kifuraha.
Kusikia kulia, kuna wale wanalia.
Dysphoria. Euphoria ni kusikia vizuri, unasikia hiyo feeling ni wazimu. Looking for this. Dysphoria, sometimes when people drink for the first time or smoke, others cry, others puke. But unajua shida ni gani? Kama umepata dysphoria with friends, they will tell you, inakuanga hivyo mara ya kwanza. You know? So some people they want that euphoria again. For some they don't want it, depending on many other factors. So after experimenting, unafika the second stage. This is social use. Casual drinkers. Sasa wako hapa, unajua mimi nakunywaga casually, you know.
Wakati wa December hivi.
Sio vibaya. But as we are talking about this, I want people to understand that when we talk about addiction,
not all drug users are addicted.
Yes, not all drug users get addicted. Not all are.
But we are also not advocating for drug use.
We are not advocating for drug use. And again, we are not shaming. We just want people to understand. So social use is whereby mtu anatumia saa zile, either it's on occasion, some call it occasional use, or when you are just with the people who introduced you to the drug, or with people who use. At this particular time, you don't go out looking for it.
Ni wale wa pombe imesoma.
Hivyo ndio wanasemanga.
I used to have one guy who was really standing for his friend. He was saying, zimanze unacheki umse. Umse atakaa anatei. Anateingia kijua Kenya anafanya.
Wacha tutafika hapo. Hii ni ile sasa hauendi kuitafuta. Yaani imekupata ni Christmas, besti yako amekaa nayo.
Ama mmefika kwa harusi na iko.
Bas. Sawa. Kuna watu weza kuremain hapo.
Okay.
Kuna watu weza kuremain hapo forever. I'm serious. There are people who are able to remain there. Remember when we talked about addiction, it's something that provides short-term relief or short-term reward, has long-term consequences. And when somebody experiences the long-term consequences, they are unable to stop. So kuna watu kwa hii stage ya pili, hapo hakuna long-term consequences. Kuna watu weza kuishi hapo. But then, the bad news is, depending on the issues around you, depending on so many other issues that we may not delve in right now. These are that stage. Inaitwa instrumental stage. Instrumental stage ni kusema aje. Before hata niseme instrumental stage, let me mention there are many other, unajua scientists ni wengi. So unaweza ndo pate other stages huko. azimaanishi ziko wrong, but this is the one I find most helpful. So the instrumental stage, sasa hapa brain yako imefigure out ala kuna kakitu tunakunywanga kana change vile tunafeel. Naona kuna kakitu tunapokeanga kana tupatia boost fulani hatukuwa nayo. So hapa instrumental haungoje rafiki akuletee, haungoje Christmas, haungoje harusi,
unaenda huko
unasema hey sasa nataka kubambika, sherehe, unaenda kuitafuta. Unasema hey sasa nataka niko na stress, I want to
calm down,
I want to calm down, I feel angry. Remember previously you are using socially, but now your brain is, or your mind is feeling some discomfort. You want to find relief, or even you want to use for pleasure. So hapa in the instrumental stage it is intentional. Sasa ni wewe sasa unaanza kuitafuta. Hapa you may find sasa hapa mostly mambo yako inaenda poa. Kama ni shule inaenda vizuri, kama ni job inaenda vizuri. Hata bibi ama watoto wakuulize ni aje, unaambia si mimi niko sawa.
Ushaikosa kitu kunini? Nishai kuuliza kitu.
But in the real sense, umeona umeanza kutumia hii drug ama hii pombe as a coping mechanism, which is at that particular time it is negative. Umeanza kukua dependent psychologically. At hii time hata hakuna withdrawals. Hii time uko sawa. Hata hangi.
What are those? Why do people get hangovers?
But pale the fact is kuna the psychological bit of it. But the danger is as the dependency increases uko instrumental sasa, unatafuta reason. Either saa zile unataka kubambika ama saa zile unataka kuchange how you feel. But as the dependency increases, the brain forms the habit. So unaingia stage nyingine inaitwa habitual use. Hii sasa hauhitaji ati kuwa sad ama happy ama angry ama whatever.
Uko ndani.
Hii sasa at a particular time lazima ukue
umekunywa kitu
at that particular time. Hii sasa haina, it is not dependent on the moods, it is not dependent on how much money you have, it is not dependent on
an event.
Yes. Hii sasa you are actively looking for the substance at a particular time. So unapata most of the areas bado uko function.
Okay.
But kuna kwenye kunaanza kuguzwa. Remember hapa sasa for this habit to form, sikuna ile kitu ulikuwa unafanya hapa. Maybe you are spending time with your family, but now the drug use umefika habitual stage. Umeanza kureplace. So your relationships might start deteriorating. Your career unaweza kuwa sawa, but kuna two aspects tunatoka. And because this time denial inakuanga at its peak, utaki kuongeleshwa hiyo mambo, so you start isolating with people who don't per se hawakunywa na you see. So unapata kidogo even your circle of friends wanakuwa tu ni wale wenye wanatumia na wao. Juu wao ndio hiyo time unasikia wanakuelewa. Utaki mtu sana anakuuliza ni nini. Unaona? Bado vitu mob, kuna vitu ziko functional, but kuna vitu sasa zianza ku deteriorate pole.
Okay.
Now the danger is that is not the final stage. Kuna pali sasa inafika dependency ina increase. Na juu pia ukiwa habitual stage kuna vitu ulikuwa una take care of, you are no longer taking care of. Unapata now hata habitual stage by then the withdrawals zianza, mild withdrawals, you know. But as the withdrawals zinaenda zikikuwa severe, as your issues zinaenda zikikuwa severe, as your brain gets more and more dependent, unajipata kwa stage ya mwisho, into a compulsive stage. In the compulsive stage, everything around you revolves around the drug. Yani, I was talking to a friend yesterday, I remember. We were just talking. We were just remembering them days. Nilikuwa namwambia mimi time nilikuwa navuta bangi. tukikutana na wewe kama sina bangi kwa mfuko, wewe jua ni bangi nimeenda kutafuta.
You either have it or you have gone to look for it.
And if I'm not drunk, I'm going to drink. Unaona? If I'm not, yani tukikutana na wewe nikiwa sawa, wewe jua nimeenda, you know? So at that time, compulsive stage, everything around you revolves around the drug. All your finances, everything else. So hapa ndio unapata many things starts crumbling. You know, relationships, social status, career, education. Unajua watu wanaangalianga pesa unaweza kuwa nayo. Kama wewe ni World Bank, una expect utasota ati juu umefika compulsive stage. So I don't want people to only to look at money. But it happened with people like me. Pia finances zilienda chini. So sometimes it's a reality out here that watu hujua mtu amefika pabaya akisota. Lakini kabla afike hapo kusota, there was all this other deterioration that people miss. But bado walikuwa wanatupesa na nini. So kwa compulsive stage, the friends start going away. That time the drink is your friend. If you are not drinking, by the way, in the habitual stage before it got compulsive, if you are not drinking, you are remembering how you were drinking yesterday and you are planning how you'll go to drink. But now in the compulsive stage,
you are either drunk or you are going to.
Umeshika hiyo different. Habitual stage,
you are remembering.
Hata kama uko kazi siku mzima unakumbuka tu vile jana kalishika. Na hadi mabeshto wenye uko nao mnaongea tu stories za jana vile kalishika na vile kataenda kushika leo. Kwa compulsive hakuna hiyo time ya hizo discussion. Kwa compulsive sasa ni ukiamka ni tuende because your body cannot do without. The same with weed, the same with all the other drugs. Yes.
Okay.
So before we get there, sometimes people are different. From experimentation to compulsive, it may take 1 year to 20 years.
Okay.
Depending on the person, depending on so many environmental factors, social factors, nini vitu mob sana. For example, kuna kitu mwambia watu, kama ulianza madre mapema, before brain yako iko nayo. For example, if you started drugs at 13, yet scientists say for the brain to be considered fully mature, some say 21, some say 25. So kuna faculties mingi sana uko haziko balance. And by that time, you've already started manipulating your systems. So it becomes faster for you. Yes.
Wow. There are these people who say, but the word says, when Paul was telling Timothy, little for your stomach. Where do we categorize these people?
Timothy was not an alcoholic. You know,
and the same Bible says it's only those who are mourning who are allowed to do it. So these people who are in stress and they're in bitterness, maybe they are mourning something.
But you see, at the end of the day, if you use it's usually like this. It's either the drug or the alcohol is affecting an area of your life, or an area of your life is making you drink. So would you rather face your issues sober, or would you rather face your issues drunk? So if you would rather face your issues drunk, that means there is a problem, that you are unable to cope with your issues as yourself. You have to find an escape. Unaona? So mimi kwa hiyo little Bible I know, me I didn't see anywhere Timothy had long-term consequences with alcohol. And like I said, here we are not here to bash drugs. We are not here to promote drugs. We are here to understand addiction. We are here to say that
your habit could lead to addiction.
And what gets you there, and how you can get out of it. And when you get there, we are not saying it's bad. We are only saying it's bad for you. For you, in a mess. You can a long-term negative consequences. Inaharibu maisha yako.
Wow. So when I heard you in the last episode, you were saying it is a progressive thing.
Yes.
How now do you get yourself out of this progressive thing? Because today we are going to be talking about the process.
How you get yourself out is number one. Of course, you have to detox. The drugs have to be out of your system. And then you have to go and find out what got you there. What caused? What were you healing? Because you see what drugs do, they provide relief. They provide excitement, pleasure.
Yeah.
So why did you need the drugs to find that pleasure? The third thing you need to do is now find alternative form of pleasure, alternative forms of dealing with issues. Because kama drugs zilikuwa zinakusaidia kudeal na anga, na hiyo anga haiishi juu umeacha.
It's true.
You have to find alternative way to deal with your issues, to deal with stresses, to live life. And number 4, and I'll use my example.
Number 1, you have said you detox.
You detox.
Number 2, you have said you find out
root.
The cause.
Why? The why. Number 3, alternative.
Okay.
Juu sasa hiyo relief utaitoa wapi sasa? Ya 4. You see, the same way I was drinking every day. Nilikunywa every day for almost 8 years. Every day drinking, smoking, marijuana, chewing mira, cigarettes. At some point I started popping some pills. So in the same way, I have to work on my recovery every day. Juu kichwa ni ile. Sasa nilibadilishwa kichwa na mtu. Same head. Yes, same brain.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's go now to the cycle.
There's something else, another characteristic of addiction that is called lack of control. Hii ni ile unasema unaenda kukunywa chupa 2,
unapata umaliza crate mzima.
I used to hear wazes ayes ameweka pesa ya chupa 3, alafu unasikia amesema sasa hata nitatoa kwa mfuko ya mtoto. Because lack of control.
Boy, that's bad.
So the cycle of addiction, once you are there now, you are caught in a vicious cycle. That is why addiction is so painful. And that's why it's so difficult for people to get out of. Because you are caught in this web-like structure where it becomes difficult for you to come out of it. And I want to maybe showcase it
to visualize it.
So using, isn't it?
Yeah.
You decide to use. But then after using, what do? You lose control. After you lose control, what do? You feel bad.
Oh, guilt.
Guilt. Dissatisfaction. Juu umeamka asubuhi na ulikuwa umesema
hii ndio ya mwisho hii.
Ama sitaifanya hivi tena. Na maybe deep down hata kama uko in denial unajua hii kitu sio poa kwako. So after dissatisfaction, what many people do, they promise to quit. Sema mimi hata sitaki kunywa tena.
Hii nayo.
Mimi
nakuhakikishia. Nimeokoka.
I want to tell you for a fact. Sasa zile mtu anakuanga akisema hivyo. Hata uweke truth meter hapo. They usually saying the truth.
Oh yeah.
But addiction is so bad. Let me tell you. After this promising to quit, what happens is, and this is where it lies now. There is either intense feelings of either frustration or even happiness. And because by this particular time, by the time you get here, now tunasema sasa huyu ni mtu ako in the later stages of addiction now. Because at that time, and because addiction is a brain disease, your brain is already wired that the only way to deal with feelings of frustration or feelings of happiness is indulging.
Okay.
So what your brain does automatically
tells you tuende tuka.
No. Start fantasizing. You start fantasizing. Start feeling na nitafeel. Maybe you have an argument with your boss and I'm like, si jana nilikuwa nasema siku ile lakini nitafeel aje? Si nitafeel poa nikiku. Lakini hapana. Lakini unaona you just start fantasizing kidogo. Or you get paid intense feeling of happiness. So because your mind doesn't know any other way, you start thinking, hey, na leo si zitashika. You've not even gotten there. So after fantasizing, you now start actively looking for the substance. Actively. So unatafuta either ni kwa bar, kwa pedi, ama wherever. So we call that obsession. Lakini ukumbuka bado kulikuwa na hii promise ya kuquit. And hii inaweza kuwa ilikuwa conscious or unconscious. So unasikia kuna watu alikuwa maji anasema Mungu ukinishukishia hii sitawahi kunywa tena. Huyo mtu anakuanga akimini hiyo story. So after fantasizing, obsession is now where you start actively looking for the substance. Lakini unasema unaenda tu kutafuta moja ya mwisho ama leo na kunywa moja niende home. Then unajipata una use tena. Una lose control and the process repeats itself over and over again. So I want to give you ni kuonyesha tu what an addict is going through. You can imagine it's a cycle. Being caught. We call this a vicious cycle. It is full of frustration. It is full of pain. It is full of doubt. Mtu anaanza kujiona ni mjinga. Yaani mimi naweza kuwa hapa nikishinda nikisema nitawaacha najipata tu nimekunywa tena.
Kwani sishikangi.
Alafu watu wenye wako nje hawaelewi. Yao wanaona ni ujinga, wanaona ni umana. Lakini hawajui brain ya huyu mtu imechange. That hii cycle ameshika hivi. So now when we go to treatment,
how to treat now this person who is in this vicious cycle?
Where the best place to treat it is here.
Where they
how to deal with feelings
the frustration.
Or the coping skill, coping mechanism. And maybe what to do when you find yourself obsessing or fantasizing. Because sometimes, hata sisi tuko in recovery. Sometimes unajipata because we also go through stuff, but we have now relapse prevention techniques that will help us not to use to cut down the fantasizing and the obsession, because we have already promised to quit. So recovery is basically knowing how to deal with feelings of frustration, knowing how to deal with feelings of happiness, and knowing what to do when you find yourself fantasizing and obsessing, so that you don't, and that is how you cut the vicious cycle. But when an addict is in active use, this is the cycle that they find themselves in. It is full of frustration. Even hata wao wenyewe, mtu mwenyewe haelewi ni nini inaendelea, anapata tu yani nimekunywa rent, lakini unajipata unakunywa tena, hata yeye anaanza kujishuku what is wrong with him. I want to tell you today that this is a disease. It is treatable, it is manageable, and recovery is possible for anyone. Maybe in other episodes we may talk about recovery if you give us a chance.
Okay. So thank you very much. I at least now most of us understand, because we have always been thinking they just go drink and they have made a decision. That is a choice they have made to stick in those dens. And thank you for bringing that light. One thing we have made clear is that we are not shaming drug users, because nobody chooses to be an addict. Something else, we are saying that if you find yourself with some of the things that we mentioned here, it's a red flag. It's for you to call for help. And we are going to continue putting your number down here, because I know from the previous episode, the first episode we ever did with you, so many people have gotten help. Great. And that is the purpose of this channel. So thank you so much for even kujitolea kukuja. You're giving us free education. Thank you so much. And when you see this, it means that you need to extend grace to somebody who is going through addiction. And just know, if it's not for the grace of God, you would be in this position. May the good Lord bless you as you share this episode and the many episodes that we have shot in this channel. God bless you. This is Shine with Joaquim Kamanja Kethi. Remember, you're the light and you can shine. Shine with Joaquim Kamanja Kethi.